I know.
No, I get that.
I know. I don't know. So listen,
I'm challenged by something. I gotta do it, and then I do it, and I prove to myself that I can do it. But this is exactly what happens in a diet.
You're missing.
You go on a diet, and then for 30 days or 90 days, you eat healthy. But then after those 90 days, you're like, yeah, I did it. I won. There's a finish line that I crossed.
There is no finish line. That's what you're missing. There's no finish line for this.
Well, welcome back to the Alpha Project, everybody. I'm getting lit up already because I'm on my phone. Parnel said he was going to be a bitch for this episode, so I guess I'll lead it.
I didn't say I was going to be a bitch. I said I don't want to fucking do it.
There you go.
It's not being a bitch. I'm still here.
Sometimes you got to do shit you don't want to do.
Did I show the fuck up?
Yeah, you were.
Am I here?
I got here.
All right.
Yeah,
I was here an hour.
You dragged us all here to tell me that you didn't feel like doing it.
I need the bros around me, man.
You wanted to wait for everyone to show up to say that you weren't feeling it because you knew that we would be like, okay, ignore that.
Yeah. It's exactly what it
cry
was.
in your corner for a second.
Exactly.
And then let's do the
Devon just
thing.
starts grabbing camera equipment.
Let's do the thing.
Yeah, what the fuck? How come when I said, yo, can we just have a talk today instead of fucking recording, you just started grabbing video camera? Like, what's wrong with you?
That's how our friends do.
I interpret that as you need to be challenged to accomplish something, to feel like...
I'm not challenged enough right now. My last 2 weeks have been fucking crazy.
So that's the thing, is like just when you think like, oh, you know, life is going well, it stops going well, and then other shit happens. That's in perpetuity. This goes on for as long as you fucking exist.
I've learned more about myself in the last week than I think I have in the last 5 years.
I really think that it's important that you share that with other people.
No.
So the thing that I tried to say to you before we started recording, like, if you're ahead of somebody and somebody's looking to get to where you're at right now, not even where you want to be, like where you're at right now, and they're looking for something, you know, to help them do that, and you are otherwise not available, then you're doing the world a huge disservice.
Yeah, I've been servicing the world for 3 years. I think it's time for some me time.
That sounded really
That's
dirty,
really
for the record.
You hoe. And dude, there's something really cool there, and I get that because you know, at least for me, I want to be out there, you know, being outward focused, showing up for people, and I'm tough on myself if I'm not doing that, right? Because in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm not at my potential if I'm not serving.
Feel like you're losing something, right?
Right. And then honestly, dude, there are times where it's like you need to take time. I need to take time. And it could be a day, right? Where I just shut the phone off, lock myself in the house or whatever, right? It could be a week. Right?
Let me explain.
You need to take the time for self-love. And then when you reflect, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Think about what's going on. Think about what's going to happen. Like even this week for me, I felt like I just had a lot on my plate. Like I'm in the middle, like I was coming to the end of this 90-day goal program, and I've hired a new mechanic who I'm working on training. It started a whole like tint and 3M and graphene, so it started a whole other subdivision of the company. Hired 2 new sales reps, and we're doing the podcast, and figuring out ways to work out during a lockdown, and teaching myself trading. It's like, man, it's like I was looking and I made a list of the projects that I had on the go. And I was like, holy fuck, no wonder I feel scattered. No wonder I feel spread thin.
You know what's funny about that is I had that same conversation with my mentor in trading. And we had a phone call. I've known the guy for about 20 years. We had a conversation about, he goes, what are all these things that you're doing, right? And he was like, what's A-list? What's Alpha Project? What's the Morning P? What's 7 Tree? What's your day job? Went into all these things. I'm like, well, there's 7 things I'm doing. And after that call, it was like, okay, I have to drop a few of these.
Yep.
And I did almost automatically, right? We're not going to mention them here, but we dropped a few of them, and it made me feel instantly better. What I'm going through now, I'll just a little bit of background. A little bit is so it was made very clear to me that my life and how I'm living it isn't conducive to who I portray myself to be.
There's an incongruency.
There's incongruency.
Okay, who made that? Who made that observation? Was that yourself?
It was
external?
me. But it was me that made the observation. But it came to light through a person I care about leaving my life. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And it was So I take a step back. I'm no longer on social media. I've made a commitment to not be on social media. I'm doing this program from Andy Frisella called 75 Hard. We've had this conversation. If you haven't heard of it, go look it up. It's called 75 Hard. Just type in the hashtag, you'll find it. Look up Andy Frisella, guys. Amazing. And it's 75 days of mental toughness. Because I feel like 6 years ago, before all this podcasting thing came about, and before my voice was heard by all these people, and before I was in front of a camera, and before I was this guy that everybody recognized, there was this guy that worked out consistently, that had goals, that had dreams. And over the last 5 years, I feel like I was going in the right direction, and I thought this is exactly what I wanted to do. But there was something that came about. My ego came back in. There was too much. There was too much boasting. There wasn't being truthful most of the time. Not most of the time, with little things, right?
Mm.
It was drinking too much. Was partying too much. It was not being true to myself. Does that make sense? I wasn't doing my daily workouts. I wasn't doing my daily affirmations. I wasn't journaling. I wasn't writing. I wasn't doing the steps necessary to be the person that my partners depended on. Does that make sense? Myself being my partner.
It sounds like you're measuring yourself externally.
I'm measuring myself as a person looking at me.
Right.
I realize I have to step outside of myself to see what I was doing. Right? I think self-reflection is great, and knowing who you are and what you're doing and what path you're on and where you want to go and having that final goal is great. But if you can't look at yourself every day, month, week, year and say, what do I need to change?
It's
then
healthy. It's healthy to periodically stop and say, "Am I in alignment
Right.
with what the vision I have for myself is?" Because we all have an ideal,
Mhm.
right? I have an ideal. You have an ideal about who you are, right?
Mhm.
Who's Parnell? Who's Steve? Right? Like we have that benchmark that we say, "This is me at my best." And as human beings, we often compare ourselves and hold ourselves to that all the time. When in reality, that benchmark is floating. It's
Mhm.
moving all
Absolutely.
the time. Right. And so it's tough as much as we want to, where we say, hey, I at one point could run 10K. Right. Now I'm unable to run 10K. Is it fair for me to hold myself to that benchmark all the time? Right. Because priorities change, things change.
I'd say, yeah, I was gonna say,
Lifestyles
depends
change,
on your
jobs
priority.
change.
Yeah.
Right. Everything changes. I think it's healthier to just say, hey, this is the period I'm at. This is the stage I'm at. This is what I'm in alignment with.
But
here's what I'm focusing on.
My issue was regression, not progression.
Well,
So you felt like you were going
regression in
backwards.
certain areas, however,
Yes.
progression in other areas.
Which ones?
Your financial life?
Worse.
No, you just told
Than
me
6
today.
years. Than 6 years ago. Worse.
Okay, well, it's a much healthier way.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of positives.
There's a lot more opportunity on the table for me as it stands. There comes a time in a guy's life, and I think everybody kind of goes through this, where it's not really a midlife crisis. I don't think I'm middle age yet.
I'm 30. I've had 3 midlife crises.
Right.
Actually, the
There's-
average male lives
Oh, for
in
fuck's
Canada
sakes.
to 81, so
Oh.
you're just about there, buddy.
I gotta go. Great show.
It's a great show, everybody. Okay, see you next week.
I think what I'm getting at is that I had such high goals, and I fell off from achieving those because I got comfortable. I thrive in being uncomfortable. I've realized that for everything I've ever done that was positive in my life, I was uncomfortable. I got arrested for selling drugs. Uncomfortable. Made a huge change. Right? I was overweight. Uncomfortable. But for me, the pain of being uncomfortable has to be the most extreme pain for me to want to change.
We've talked about that before. How you can
Is there a
torch the
way
island
that
to
you can
Right.
create change?
like?
Right.
Is there a way that you could? Because I know one of your goals right now is to meditate for half an hour a day. Is there a way that you can meditatively say that you're in an uncomfortable place and create enough discomfort without actually literally creating discomfort?
I'm sure I could. I think my issue with that would be why.
It'd be like trading on a demo account. For
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. It'd be like, why would I purposely put myself in an uncomfortable position when I'm in such a great position in life? If I was in a great position in life, right? now that things have they have come crashing down on me, right? There were so many things I've did over the last 5 years that are now biting me in the ass, and they're all coming to fruition at once,
That's the way the world works.
right? I like that.
Yeah, that's the way the world works.
I don't like being all the shit coming at once, but I like it because I get to solve it now, and I get to handle these things where I didn't handle them.
Because you're a dude and you like to fix shit.
Right?
We've tucked all this shit into
if
the
there's nothing
closet
to fix and things are going well, where's the self-destruct button? What can I destroy so that I have something to do?
I'm not like that.
Oh, that's what I do.
I'm not like that at all.
I'm like, man, everything's been going really well lately. What can I fuck up?
No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird for me. I was seeing this woman, and it came down to and honestly, I recognized the things as I was saying them, and I'm not going to go into specifics, but I was recognizing as I was saying them. Why am I saying this? I shouldn't even put this on her. I don't know why am I going to even ask this? And I would just ask, or I would say something, or whatever it would be, right? And I knew it was incorrect at the time, and yet I did it anyway. So that's my discipline, right? My discipline has gone from this level to this level, right? My sacrifice for the people I love have gone from this level to this level. My standards have gone from this level to this level.
Have you examined why that is?
Absolutely.
What conclusion did you reach?
Being comfortable. Here's the thing. I was in a relationship for 4 years, right? Just prior to that relationship, and about maybe 6 months into that relationship, I was at the gym for anywhere from 3 to 6 hours a day. I knew it wasn't sustainable. I absolutely knew it. But I was in the gym because I had nothing else to do. I didn't want to sit at home and watch TV. I worked. I went to the gym in the morning, then I worked, then I went to the gym at night. That was what I did.
You're just hiding somewhere else.
Right. So I was working on my physical without working on my mental. So I could sit there and lift weights or do CrossFit for 6 hours a day, or train or stretch or whatever the fuck I'm doing, and hang out with those people. But as soon as something came into my life that I was happy with, all of that discipline went away.
It's almost like that thing that brought you that happiness took more and more of your attention over time.
Right. And that's exactly what it was. And I don't think I'm alone in this. I think this happens to a lot of guys, right? I think where I'm going to succeed, where others have failed, is that I'm able to recognize it. Yes, it was a swift kick in the face, but I recognized it. Yes, it may have taken 4 or 5 years, but I recognized it. There was, over the last 4 months, there's been relapse into cocaine. There's been relapse into alcohol abuse. There's been relapse into not holding myself accountable to the standards I know I should be. I went back and listened to some Tony Robbins things, right? And he says this thing. He says, what do you get when you do something good? What's your reward for doing good? Poor, right? What's your rewards for being excellent? Good. Well, if you just don't want good, you don't want good rewards. I want fucking excellent rewards. So how do you rise from, even if you're doing excellent in your life, right?
In certain areas, other areas definitely need work.
But if you want
everybody's in that place for,
and you get good rewards or great rewards, whatever it is, right? If I want excellent rewards, I have to be outstanding, right? In every aspect, right? Relationships, finances, work, with business, with everything.
Right.
I hold myself to a higher standard than most people couldn't even dream about. I hold myself to a standard so high that other people don't even question it about what I'm doing.
Do you think that perhaps might be the downfall?
No. And here's why. Because if I hold myself to a higher standard than anybody else can ever expect from me, then that means I'm doing something right for me. That's how my mind works.
Right.
I
think it's almost like you're inevitably setting yourself up for failure, though.
I see that too.
See? And that's how failure starts.
Right.
Something gets in my head where, maybe I am doing something wrong. This guy says I'm setting myself up for failure. Because I respect your opinion, I'm gonna have to go home and analyze that for 4 hours now.
Well, and maybe not. It's just a minor adjustment. Steve touched on this earlier. When you set the bar somewhere, the bar is always moving, and that's normal. That's natural. Because let's say
not with standards.
I set the bar for my life right now. I want to make $1 million every month. And if I don't reach that, I'm being very literal for the point of illustrating the point here.
Right.
So I want to make $1 million every month, and if I don't get there in 30 days, then fuck it.
That's an unreasonable standard.
Right. And
Here's-
you've said this a number of times, that you
Nope.
hold yourself to an unreasonable standard.
I hold myself to a higher standard than anybody else could ever expect me. What I mean by that is
Of you, my expectation of you.
exactly.
So you hold yourself to a higher expectation for yourself than I could hold you to an
Could
expectation.
ever hold me to.
And you could argue that's for a bunch of different reasons. You could argue that you just don't like the chance that of me being able to come to you and saying, "Hey, why isn't this done?"
I have, see if I can structure this correctly. I had a chat with the contractor I work with. I'm a subcontractor during my day job. I had a conversation with him, and when I broke up with my fiance, I was going through a week or two of some pretty crazy shit. He said, "Man, take the rest of the month off. I have nothing for you the rest of the month." This is a time in my life where I was dead broke, zero money. I had to pay bills. My vehicle was breaking down. My relationship has just ended. My son had just told me he didn't want to see me. I was in the lowest state I could possibly come to. And when he said that to me, instead of me saying, "Well, fuck you, why would you do that? How fucking dare you take my livelihood away?" I looked at it and went, okay, how can this help me?
Opportunity.
All right. So I took the remaining 3 weeks of January to self-evaluate, to go over a bunch of things that I thought I needed to do. However, when I was self-evaluating, I was evaluating myself based on the previous 4 years where I wasn't holding myself to the standards I'm accustomed to. So I fell right back into a trap.
Which is exactly what I was pointing at. It's
Right.
like the
So-
bar is always moving relative to where you are.
What I'm talking about is I'm talking about holding my standards high enough to be impeccable in my word, impeccable in what I say I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. That's what I'm talking about. Holding yourself to a standard that if I say something, you know it's going to happen without a fucking doubt.
Right. Okay. So you remember me saying this a while ago. You're not who you think you are. You're not who I think you are. You are who you think I think you are.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, we tend to project on to other people what we think they think we are.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Steve thinks I'm this way, and so I have to show up that way. I think Parnel thinks I'm this way, so I have to show up that way. The problem is when Steve and Parnel are together, Steve thinks this, Parnel thinks this. Now I'm having trouble being congruent to who that is. Now the problem with this is that it's an external measurement, and this is the trap that we all get in. I think I'm supposed to be this way because somebody else thinks I'm supposed to be that way, so I must be that way.
You're missing.
But now when we come together, I'm trapped. I can't do the things that I should be doing. And to fast forward to the punchline, because I know you think that I don't get it, but what I'm trying to illustrate here is when you are constantly projecting what you think other people think you should be, you're at their mercy.
100%.
Because you're pinging for their reaction.
And that's what I was doing the last 4 years.
Right.
That wasn't me prior to my last relationship.
Well, I think that because it's a habit that you've developed over
Absolutely.
a long period of time, I don't think that it was just instantly eliminated when you exited one relationship and entered into a new one.
No,
as much as you wanted that to happen, those habits still existed, and so you were still pinging externally.
Exactly.
And this is the thing right now, is that it's a cause for reflection. It's a cause for you to go, okay, well, fuck. The people outside of me have these expectations of me, and I'm relying on living up to that expectation based on what I think it is. And it's a completely arbitrary thing.
I don't
when
think
in
that's
reality,
correct.
what you should be doing is measuring yourself for yourself. And as an example, when you said, I want to try the 75 hard thing. Okay, so you are setting the benchmark now. This is the yardstick that you're going to use to measure your progress. If I don't complete this, then what?
Then I restart it and complete it eventually.
Right.
So are you looking for like a reset, or are you looking to say, hey, I'm doing this and this is what I deserve? Or are you looking to say, hey, I'm going to do this. If I fail, then okay, yeah, wow, that sucks. Now I have to redo it. Like, are you looking to create pain for yourself? Because what ends up happening, when you say, I set the bar so fucking high, right? Sometimes you hit it. Sometimes you don't hit it. The reality
Which
is,
makes
though,
sense. Shoot for the stars, land on the moon.
The
we
reality
all
is,
get
though,
that
is
cliche.
when we set goals that are so fucking high repeatedly, and I do this all the time, and when I don't hit it, part of me says, okay, cool, well, you know what? I'm further ahead than I was. There's other times where I'm like, I know I'm not gonna get there. So then my brain says, oh, I didn't achieve this goal. And what we think about, we manifest more of. It's not that, oh, I didn't get this goal. However, I'm happy that I got here. It's I didn't hit this goal. And what our brain hears is I didn't. I'm not this. I didn't get there. Right. So then you do that a couple times and that turns, for a couple days, turns into a couple weeks. And then all of a sudden you're in this negative feedback loop where all that your brain is hearing is I'm not achieving my goals.
I'm not enough.
So if you set the bar lower, you achieve shit. Then what
I completely understand.
And what's the word I'm looking for?
The momentum.
The momentum's there, and the dialogue, the story that your brain hears is I'm an achiever. I'm doing this. I'm accomplishing my goals.
You have to understand that I'm already at that level. My brain is wired already to be like I've accomplished so much already. I know what I've accomplished. Where I have to get to again is knowing myself. I slotted in a girl into my ex-fiance's position without changing myself, without looking inwards and figuring out why the first relationship didn't work.
Well, and bear in mind that this was over a very short period of time,
very short time,
relatively speaking.
Right. So me setting the bar that high is because I know I can do it because I've done it before. And if I've done it before, I can do it again. Now, if I were to say, let's say I do the 75 hard thing, and one of the things is to drink a gallon of water a day. I mean, I already drink 6 liters of water a day. It's 1.5 times a gallon. So yeah, I can do that.
Drank 6 liters once. Has been doing it for a
No, I consistently drink about 3 liters a day regardless.
That's half of what you just said.
No, I know, but over the last
we came in today.
Oh,
I came in today. And he's like, man, I've only had 3 bites of food because I've drank 6 liters of water.
It wasn't 3 bites of food.
You said that small ass.
Why is he
plate,
fucking with me right now?
Because I told you I was gonna fuck with you.
Because
you do this.
But you gotta be called on the shit,
just
though.
like, man. You're like, yeah, I already do that. No, you did it once.
I can listen. This is a liter and a half. I consistently drink two of these a day.
Chug it on camera.
Right now,
I've had 6 liters. I have to chug it.
He's gonna throw up all over the place.
So what I'm saying is, for me to double my water intake is usually not difficult for me because we're coming into the summer months. It's getting hotter. It's gonna be easier to drink water, right? When it comes out to, you have to drink a gallon of water. If you miss 1 ounce of that gallon, you go back to day 1 of this thing. I'm not going to miss that fucking goal. You know what I mean? If I have to do 2 45-minute workouts, one of them has to be outside and it comes in at 43 minutes, I'm going to go run for 2 more minutes.
Okay, so check this out then. Why does that happen only when you're doing a 75-day challenge and not in your everyday life?
This is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
This is what I'm saying. This used to happen every fucking day for me.
Right.
Every day.
And
it
so
doesn't
being in
now.
comfort
So I need to
allowed you to create those excuses to not stay on that and create new habits.
So when I say I got comfortable, that means I dropped all my standards for who I was as a person. To get back to where I was, I need a mental reset, a physical reset, and a spiritual reset. That includes getting rid of all my social medias because I know where my mind goes when I get on social. It means eliminating television because I know I'll just be fucking lazy and sit there and smoke weed and fucking watch TV. It means meditating because it's something I got into a while back and I didn't keep up with it. I want to get back to that place. When it says read 10 pages of the book, I'm going to read 30. I don't, when there's this bar set, especially when I think it's that low, 10 pages a day, that's 20 minutes of reading. That for me, I'm like, okay, let's put it up to 20. Let's put it up to 30. I'll hit the 10 and I'll go more. If it says a 45-minute workout, I'm going to work out for an hour. And I'll do that twice a day. And I'll do it for 75 days. And now we've been talking ever since you've been in this room. I know I'm going to do it for 90 days now. You know what I mean? When somebody else sets a bar, I look at that bar and go, okay, sure. And I laugh.
So there's a common theme that's popping up here again.
Right?
He has to win.
So you have to be in that competitive nature from an external measurement, and that's
no. It's not
sometimes beneficial.
It's not an external measurement. And here's why.
When it goes away,
I have to do it to know that I can do it again. This is what you're missing. I know.
No, I get that.
I know. No, listen.
I'm challenged by something. I got to do it, and then I do it, and I prove to myself that I can do it. But this is exactly what happens in a diet.
You're missing.
You go on a diet, and then for 30 days or 90 days, you eat healthy. But then after those 90 days, you're like, yeah, I did it. I won. There's a finish line that I crossed.
There is no finish line. That's what you're missing. There's no finish line for this. Yes, this will be a slowdown. It won't be so fucking difficult. I won't be so hard on myself all day. I'll go back to television. I'll go back to social media. I'll go back to these things. Right? I still want to have a rum and fucking Coke. But to know that I can do it, to know that I'm not addicted to it, to quit smoking. You know what I mean?
Okay, so again, that's another problem. You quit smoking for how long?
Stop. You keep saying it's an external measurement. It's not. It's all internal for me. I don't give a fuck what you guys think about it. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do it for me because I want to do it for me. I'm not posting on social media. I'm not doing anything else for anybody else. I'm doing it for me so I know I can do it. And if I know I can do it, that means I can get back into the mindset I was in 2016. If I get back into the mindset of 2016, then I'm going to be back on a roll, back to where I need to be without being fucking comfortable. I can be comfortable in something else and not let those standards fall because I know my problem was the standards fell.
Right.
Right? How do I get back to having those high ass standards? I have to get back to the same mental ability.
Right.
Right? If I'm not in that mindset, those standards aren't there. So how do I get back into that mindset?
Challenge yourself.
There you go.
Yeah.
Once I complete that challenge for myself,
right,
my mindset is back. I'm able to do all the other things I want to do. I can incorporate more and more things in. There's no external measurement here. If I fail, I fail. I'm going to repeat it and I'm going to do it myself again. I'll let everybody else know I fucking failed.
Why?
Because I don't have an ego. That's another thing. I have to break my ego.
But why do you have to share that with anybody?
I don't.
Because
I don't.
I love this analogy.
I don't. Here.
I'm a musician. I deal with a lot of musicians, and a lot of musicians, like 99.9% of them, they have this little thing, and every time I hear them say it, it just makes me fucking cringe. I make music for myself.
No, you don't. You make music for other people to hear.
You make music for a completely different reason, but you're fucking lying to yourself. And this is the point. If you only made music for yourself, then make music for yourself and never fucking show a single human being ever. Because it's not for them, it's for you. Mm-hmm. Make music for yourself. You listen to it, you enjoy it, and shut the fuck up about you making music for yourself. That's a bullshit fucking justification so that you don't look like you're doing it for the money or you're doing it for something else. It's called virtue signaling. It's a false front. Mm-hmm. It's a facade that you put up, pretending to be something when you're actually not that fucking thing. You hope that you achieve some level of success, but you're not willing to put the fucking work in to achieve that level of success. Mm-hmm. But when you don't achieve that level of success, you can go, I was only making music for myself. So you don't fucking set the bar up here. You set the bar here. That's what's happening. That's what's happening with the whole fucking world. And this is the problem with it. And I blame the fucking marketing machine. And you know what? Sure, rant aside. The fucking point is, if you're going to do these things, you got to do them for yourself. You get to be the one that measures it. You get to be the one that sets the fucking bar. The bar is always going to be moving. You also have to be cognizant of the fact that the fucking bar is always moving, or else you set yourself up for failure.
Absolutely.
I wanted to make $1 million a month. I didn't make $1 million a month in my first fucking 30 days. So I'm a complete fucking failure. I'm a loser, guys. I'm a fucking loser in my own eyes.
Okay.
So I had to lower the bar. Okay, maybe I'll just make $100,000 a month. Did I? Nope. Okay, maybe I'll make $10,000 a month. Did I? Nope. Maybe I'll just find one fucking client. If I can find one client, then that's good enough. That means that I'm on the right fucking path. That means I'm doing the right things. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn because I kept setting the bar so fucking high and unreachable.
And I think I completely understand what you're saying.
Right.
I think the difference in that is that the bar that I've set isn't that high. Let's be completely honest here.
So where is the bar that you've set?
So you want me to just run through the 75 hard? Because that's what the bar is. That's the best measurement I'm using.
Okay, so we're gonna just take the 75 hard kind of thing.
But I've added on to that as well, right? So because I didn't think that bar was high enough, I set it a little higher because I know I can still achieve it, right?
Yeah.
And again, the reason I'm doing these things is for a mental reset. It's not for any other reason, but for me to know that I still am the person that I think I am. To know that what I've done in the past can still be replicated. It can be duplicated. I can do it again.
So what's going to stop you from derailing again in the future?
So the thing stopping me from derailing again is going back to comfort. Now, I understand that I understand that this isn't sustainable long term. I understand that. But I'm doing
Or
it.
is it?
I don't know.
I'm not saying that it's not.
I don't know.
You might hit
I think
70,
it's
you might hit day
completely-
75 and be like, wow, this is just such a part of my life now. This is
And
just
I think,
what's
and
up.
honestly,
That might be the fucking point of the 75
that's the point of the program, because we've touched on it. He's got this other program called Life Hard too, right? Which goes into a full year, and he repeats those every year. Now, I'm not saying it's sustainable. It's not sustainable. What I'm saying is that I have to know that I still have this mental ability, this mental toughness to be able to do these things. Because if I can get through that, if I can get through this bar that I've set so high, then I know my mental acuity is there. My fortitude is there. My grit is there. My drive is back. My physical abilities, I'm trusting myself more. I'm able to look at myself and be proud of who I am. I don't give a fuck what you think of me, what he thinks of me, what the rest of the world thinks of me. I need to be happy with myself first.
Right.
And if I'm not happy with myself, I can't be happy around anybody else.
If your cup's not full, how are you supposed to
Exactly. So
contribute?
So all of this just builds on my character. My character is who I am. Right? If I'm not this person that I say I am, then that for me is a falsity for me.
Right.
If I say I'm something, I better fucking be that person.
Right.
And over the last 4 years, I've said a whole bunch of things that were maybe 80% true. Right? So if I can't hold myself to those standards, I can't hold my partner to those standards. I can't hold my business partners to those standards. I can't hold my son to those standards. Because everything in life boils down to standards. What you're willing to accept and what you're willing to not accept. Correct? Yes or no?
Let's say yes for the sake of
Okay.
argument here.
So if my son has a standard, let's say he goes into high school, grade 10, whatever it is, and he has a standard for himself. He says, I have to get an 80% average on everything. That's his standard. Not something I set for him, but a goal he set for himself.
Yeah.
And he doesn't reach that. He knows that that's not acceptable for him.
Right.
Because that was his standard, and he didn't reach his standard. If he gets 79%, then he's going to go and study. Hopefully, if I've done my job right, he'll go and study or get a tutor or whatever he's got to do to make his standard his standard.
Right.
Right? What you do in life is all about what your goals are and how your standards are and the path you are to get there. Right? Your results, your purpose, and your massive action.
Right. Well, and it kind of begs the question then, what is the purpose?
Again, the purpose is a mental reset. There's nothing beyond that at this point.
Right.
But like Steve was saying, this could turn into a lifestyle thing.
I'll do it with you. I'll do the 75 hard with you. I'll do the 90 hard with you. Whatever that works out to. My goal, I want a six pack. I want to triple my annual income
In 75 days.
Well, no, I'm going to set myself up to do that.
Okay.
I'll get a six pack in 75 days.
Listen. One of my goals when I first started running to lose all that weight was to have a 6-pack once, and not for vanity, not to show it off, but because my father said to me once that you will never have a 6-pack because your body is not built like that. We're built differently. You'll never have one.
That's him projecting on you.
That's him projecting.
I want a
on
six
me.
pack because I'm vain as fuck.
I want to
show it.
I want a 6-pack because
I'm gonna go straight to the beach. It's gonna be awesome.
On my birthday, April.
I'm gonna get lit up after these 75 days.
Exactly.
Man, it's gonna takes me right to my birthday.
And you know,
I'm gonna party super hard.
And it's cause to celebrate. There's not many things in my life that I've done that I'm super excited about anymore. The podcast, yeah, okay, I got tons of listeners. I don't really see the listeners. I don't hear from the listeners. I know they're there. There's nothing to be excited about, right?
That's what I'm pointing at.
Hold on.
What's the purpose?
That's what I'm getting at. So once I complete this thing, I'll be able to finally celebrate myself. Not something I've done, but myself. Because I will be a completely different person. Does that make sense?
Yep, completely. Again, it's more questions. Why is it important to you to celebrate you?
It's important to celebrate me because if I can't celebrate me, I'm not going to be able to put out the energy, the emotion, the knowledge, the thoughts that I have. I'm not going to be able to give that to anybody. I'm doing this to be a better father, to be a great husband, to be a better friend, to be a good business partner. But all those things are still on me.
Okay, so define those in some way. We'll start with good dad. Just 1 or 2 words. What is good dad to you?
Time and attention.
Okay. Good husband. What a couple of words. What does that look like to you?
Compassion and understanding.
Okay. Business partner.
Hard work, true to word.
Okay. Those are benchmarks.
Mhm.
Those are the milestones that completely arbitrary. You get to
Absolutely.
measure how compassionate you are.
Absolutely.
You get to measure how much quality time,
Mhm.
right?
Listen,
So those things aside, hang on,
Mhm.
let me just get to this.
Sure.
All of those, to what end goal? So if you do those things, what does it look like now?
It means I'm living the best life I could possibly live and give everything I can possibly give to the best of my ability at that time
For what?
for self-satisfaction,
Why?
because it's important to me to be satisfied in life, to have something to be accomplished by. Does that make sense?
Completely. We're 3 specks of dust in a larger speck of
Mhm.
dust on a big speck of dust amongst trillions and trillions of other specks of dust.
Mhm.
None of it matters.
None of it. It matters to me because, number one, I mean, everybody can say this, the way they were raised.
Right.
Success is defined differently for everybody, right? Some people measure it by money. Some people measure it by their family. Some people measure it by the car they drive, whatever. Success to me is being the best version of myself that I can think of and become. And to do that, I have to have the mental fortitude to be able to do it, right?
Right.
I've slipped so far over the last 4 years that I don't even recognize this guy that's talking now, that I've been for the last 3 days. It literally took me 36 hours to get into state.
Yeah.
And this is the state I'm talking, right?
The flow state.
The flow state.
Yeah.
It took me 36 hours to drop everything I was, because there was so much pain associated with that if I go back to that, I never want to feel that pain. By the way, when I say I want to be uncomfortable, I never want to feel that pain.
Right.
I never want to feel it, right? But it takes that much pain for me to make change.
So the cool part about all of this is, and the revelation, we're all just fucking making this up.
Yeah.
You didn't have a reason until I asked you, and then you had to come up with a reason, and you came up with a reason that makes absolutely fucking perfect fucking sense. But we're all just specks of dust amongst billions and trillions of other fucking specks of dust just floating around in this fucking vast, endless universe of shit that... For what? For what? It makes no fucking difference. And you know what? Fine. What's the fucking point then? Off yourself. Or...
This motherfucker.
Or you have just discovered something fucking truly magical. And that is, you get to make it up. You get to decide what the fucking reason is. And if you don't like that reason tomorrow, you don't like that reason 3 months from now, you don't like that reason 3 years from now, you get to fucking change it. And that's the adventure of what it means to fucking be alive, is the fact that you can do all of this. 1 in 400 trillion fucking odds of you being a human right now in this time and space made up of the collection of molecules that you are. 1 in 400 trillion are the odds of that. And that's a fucking gift. And with that, maybe in the finite amount of time that you have on this fucking planet, in this body, in this form,
Speak for your fucking self, man. I'm fucking...
You can do something...
I'm infinite.
To influence the other insignificant fucking specks of dust, so that perhaps collectively we can do something with this.
We had a conversation on Tuesday night. Do you remember it?
Yeah.
I called you. What was the first thing that came out of my mouth?
I'm stuck?
Yeah. I said, I'm stuck. I need a topic. And you said, for what? This is literally how our conversations go. I said, I'm stuck. I need a topic. He goes, for what? I said, something that I could use on the podcast. He goes, well, you were okay. And he thought about it for half a second. He goes, you're looking for a new direction in the podcast. I said, yeah. He said, why don't you talk about what you're doing? Like, he asked me a couple questions. He said, why don't you talk about what you're doing? And I said, because I feel like if I start talking about what I'm doing now, I feel like a fraud because I'm only 3 days into this thing.
But do you not know that you know the things you know?
Right. What I'm getting at is this. Is that I came in here tonight. I by the way, I wrote about that.
Good.
I wrote about the compromise equals death, or compromise equals failure, whatever you want to say about it. And then today I came in and we're talking the same thing about how I didn't want to record this because I feel like a fraud talking about leadership when I feel like I have to make a mental reset myself. But over the course of this conversation, I've been thinking about that one statement of, why do you feel like a fraud? Because you put it to me like, if I'm 10 pages ahead of you in a book, I know what's happened for 10 pages that you don't. So I can help somebody with the next 10 pages, right? Or I can help you with the next 10 pages. The podcast is turning into something completely different than what it was. You know, when I started running back in 2010, when I lost all that weight, you know, it was probably about a year and a half into it. And I was like, you know what, man, I can be a motivational speaker. I can speak on stage. I can do all that. That's where this whole dream of becoming a motivational speaker came from. I got away from that. The reason I was doing that was so I could repeat it to myself. I was coming up with hour-long talks and repeating them to myself in the mirror. Not for an audience, but for myself. So that would be ingrained in me. I got away from so much of this.
The best way to learn something is to learn it so that you can teach it to somebody else.
Right.
I learned that super, super young when I was a kid. Thank fucking Christ that my dad instilled that in me, because he would ask me shit and he would ask me to teach him about the thing that I was learning so that I knew what I was sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So the fucking crazy thing is, I don't know, I just recently started learning about cryptocurrencies. And in the span of a few weeks, I've taken in a vast amount of knowledge. A lot of it, fuck me if I can remember. But the craziest part about this is, somebody will ask a question about cryptocurrency and I'll be like, oh God, here's my chance. And I'll share a little bit of what I know. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh God, I think I know a little bit more about cryptocurrency than I did. I fully fucking admit that I don't know everything, but I know something. And maybe that's valuable to a guy that knows nothing. And that's the formula.
That's musical. That's magical.
Magical.
It's one of those.
That's the thing, dude. Like, that's 100% the purpose. It's 100% the purpose. We don't know much, right? You know more than I do in certain areas. I know more than someone else in different areas. We're all here to experience this thing called life, and we're all here to walk our own paths and do the whole fucking thing. And my path is going to be different than the person next to me.
You know what? I like that. And I think, honestly, the reason that 75 Hard is going to be I don't think it's really going to be a challenge. I honestly don't.
What's going to be the hardest part about it for you?
No television, no social media. The two things that I put on myself.
I'm sitting here. It's funny because you didn't want to record this, and this has been you talking the whole time.
It was YouTube probing the whole. It was YouTube probing the whole time. By the way, about you fucking got me fired up, you cocksucker.
I told you I was going to do that.
I know. I said
I'm sitting here figuring out what meal plan I can follow that still lets me like go have like a cheeseburger on a patio.
Keto, no bun.
That's trash.
That's not a burger.
It's not a burger. I like my burgers.
Switch out the burger for a steak, my man.
No, bro. I'm like Tony Stark. I love my American cheeseburgers.
All right.
I'll figure it out.
I think you will. I think the crazy thing about this conversation is, it's, when you were saying, we had this conversation, you don't know what you don't know, Dunning-Kruger effect, all this shit.
Yeah.
Before I speak on something, I like to be an expert at it. I have to feel like I know it forwards and backwards. If somebody asks me a question, I like to be able to answer it, right? But, it's stunning revelation that you say, I can help somebody even if I'm 10 steps ahead of them. Because to me, that's not help, that's conjecture. This might happen. I don't know what's happening in the future, but this is what I know from 10 steps ahead of you.
And that's sharing experience. And there's so much value to that.
Oh, and the crazy thing is I'll read the same fucking 10 pages that you read, and my interpretation is going to be a little bit different than your interpretation. Right, sure. And then when we put your ideas and my ideas together, we're fucking better.
But also, if you wait till you know everything about something before you start sharing your knowledge, you're not only handicapping yourself, you're handicapping everyone else around you.
Because it means you're learning it more. If you can share even a small piece of that with somebody, you've learned it more.
If you know 1% of a topic, you're going to learn more by talking about that 1% with somebody who knows 50% than you will, you can drown yourself in textbooks or
Absolutely.
whatever, right? What are you going to do? Yeah, you're reading, right? You cross that thing off your 75 hard. However, you're now learned what 1.5%, right? Versus you go and you have a conversation with somebody who knows way more than you. Just by being around them, just by having the conversation, they will not only teach you way more because you're engaging in it, they're going to teach you the important things, and you're going to learn what's important to know and what's not important to know. How many little things of like little little topics or little knowledge pieces in anything like cryptocurrency, right? How many things can you learn that are just simply not important to know?
Right? Yeah, lots.
Dude, like and then there's other people. Okay, you might be interested in the technology stuff behind. Okay, so Bitcoin is really it takes a lot of process. It takes a lot of energy, right? Versus things like Doge or XRP, they don't, right? Is that important to you? Might be important to you. I don't fucking care, right? It's just like where do I put my money? What's going to pay me the most? Like how can I generate more income, right? And everyone's going to have a different answer to that. So if you learn one thing, right, and you're going to focus on what's important to you, then you might go into a social setting thinking that you know everything about it, and then you learn there's actually so much more to this shit that I didn't know about because I didn't think that was important to me at the time.
Well, and the cool thing about having those conversations is if you shift your perspective 1%, instead of trying to be the expert or be right, you're just trying to find right. Find expertise.
That was a big switch
and that discovery path, right? So I show up, I don't know fuck all about cryptocurrency, but let's just imagine that you guys have been trading crypto for a few years. I'm brand new to it. I'm like, guys, I just learned this thing about crypto. And you're like, oh, that's not completely right. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay, tell me more. And then I can ask questions, and then I can dig more. I don't give a fuck what I look like. Sure, if I look like an idiot, that's even better. You know why? Because I can use that to my advantage. Because here's the thing. What's my end goal? Well, I want to get good at the thing. So if I want to get good at the thing, and I'm sitting here and you're good at the thing, what's the best way to fucking get me there faster?
It's funny because your ego in that situation, you've completely separated yourself from your ego versus you're leading with your ego because you don't want to be in a position where you're not the expert.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in a position where somebody takes my wrong advice. There's a difference.
The KV Ademptor, bro, right from the very fucking beginning. I always say, listen, I don't know everything about marketing, but I know a lot about it. And I know that I might be able to help them. If you're interested in that, let's
right back
explore
into
it.
Why you're like my bar is always set so much higher than everyone else's. Because you want to be the person. You want to be on top. You want to be. You don't want to fail. You don't want to be put to shame by somebody else. Be a student, dude.
Listen, I don't care. Look, I have my
everlasting.
Ego, when I'm learning something, my ego takes a backseat to everything. If I'm learning. Right. If I feel that the conversation
so when do you switch
from
learning
I was just going to say, there's an if there that shouldn't exist. Your ego should never exist.
Okay.
There shouldn't be a switch.
Okay.
That's tough.
Why'd you do your hair this morning?
Because I like the way that it looks.
Right. There's your ego talking. Why'd you put that shirt on? Because your ego exists. You need
it's actually a really nice shirt.
Right? He's got a fucking flowers. It's a nice fucking shirt.
It was the only one that was clean today.
To say an ego shouldn't exist is ridiculous.
Ego absolutely exists.
However, need to have an ego to succeed anywhere in life.
Okay, totally fair. Totally fair. I'm going to make an amendment to that statement. Then.
Okay.
You should do your best to never let your ego have any control over any decision you ever make.
Do you understand why I'm doing 75 hard now?
Yeah, it's all coming together now. It's an incredible challenge for you to prove to yourself that you are capable of, which I think you already know.
I do.
I think you already know that you're capable of those things because you've already done them before, and you need an excuse to get yourself back there. And there's nothing fucking wrong with that whatsoever. There's nothing wrong with you needing an excuse to get back into the version of you that you like.
Motherfucker could have just said this shit fucking 40 minutes ago. We could have saved the whole fucking podcast.
Well, it's your revelation now.
Episode's an hour, bro.
Right?
Fuck.
No, but the reality is it's your revelation now. I didn't give it to you. You learned how to fish right now. You just learned how to fish. Because if I would have just said right from the beginning that shit, you'd have been like, yeah, whatever. And then off you went.
Listen, by the way, I'm yelling at both you fuckers next week or something. I'm picking something and I'm fucking yelling. You guys are talking at me. You're not talking with me. Okay?
What?
Both of you guys are talking at me.
Sometimes we all need to be talked at.
Yo, Steve had that whole episode where he was crying about girls.
Yeah, fuck him. You know, here's the thing. And you know what's funny about this?
I'm just joking.
You know what's funny about that? Is that
not wrong.
Is that without me even saying it to you guys knew that I had to be talked to. I had to be talked at.
Yeah. With?
No.
No,
You were talking at me. You guys weren't talking with me. You were talking at me. You especially, by the way.
Right.
Yeah,
Talking
you guys
at me.
you guys are good.
And here's why. It's because not because you know me from the past and that's how you've talked to me. You've never raised your voice like that to me before. Ever. Ever.
I'm so sorry.
Right? No, but you did it because I came with you with that energy first. You matched my energy.
Mm-hmm.
You gained rapport with me so that I could hear you.
Right.
Right? You asked me a question I was uncomfortable with. And I answered it in a way that I knew how, aggressively.
Yeah.
And very to the point, very blunt.
Okay.
You came back at me with the exact same energy to make sure that I was out of state and I could hear you.
Yeah.
And I could understand you. That's a point
I come up here with you
and then bring me down.
And then we come down together.
And I wasn't angry,
mm-hmm.
right? It's just how I speak. I speak aggressively.
To be honest with you, I was like, all right,
I'm not angry. I'm just aggressive.
Let's go.
Aggressive is different than angry. And it's, that's one of the things that I wanted to work on was how quickly I go from 0 to 100,
mm-hmm.
right? I do it as a character on my show because that's the character on the show. That has bled into life, right? There's a bunch of things that have bled from all the online things I'm doing into actual life where I'm playing these characters or I'm playing a hyped up version of myself.
You're method acting now.
Yeah,
it takes over your life.
That is ingrained. Yeah, exactly.
Now you need to method act a different way to get back to ground zero.
I want to be where you and your business partner are financially. I want to be where you are Bitcoin wise or cryptocurrency wise or knowledge base wise, whatever. Right. And you probably want to get to my mental toughness stage. Who knows? Whatever the fuck it is, right?
I want a 6-pack.
So do I.
And to triple my annual income from last year.
You know what's funny is honestly I don't know how this is gonna go. I talk a big game. I'm not.
Well, you will figure out because I'm gonna be phoning you every night.
Absolutely. I hired a trainer already. One of my good friends, I called her, my ex-roommate actually. I was like, hey, what are you doing? I know you're not working right now. Can you just train me until you go back to work? She said, yeah. Like, okay, I'll be there every night at 7:00. She said, okay, we'll drop Thursday. No, she got to train in the park. She got all the equipment. She just lives right across the street. Take it all into the park and just do it. Down in Broadwood, man. Let me know if you want to go. So she's going to do that. She is a personal trainer. She knows all that shit. But we're not going to do it Thursday because I'm going to be here. So I'll have to run before or after this. And then on Saturdays, because I have my kid every second weekend. So I'll have to figure out running for that. But
you're going to have to run every day.
I think we should just as a habit do a progress check-in.
I'm sitting here thinking, man, I'm gonna have to fucking wake up at 5 a.m.
You want to see my schedule? I don't know if I posted my schedule. My schedule starts at 4 a.m. now. I should be in bed right now. my schedule is 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's my schedule now. It's my schedule because I've realized when I was getting up at 6 a.m., I was getting more done in those 2 hours from 6 to 8 before everybody's up. I was getting more done than I would for the next 10 hours. So I said, okay, if I can get more done in these 2 hours, what can I do in the 2 hours previous? Next thing you know, I'm going to be up at 2 o'clock. I'm going to start sleeping at 6 p.m.
It's fucking insane to me.
That sounds terrible.
See, I will start the day anywhere between 9 and 10 is when I wake up. And from that point, I need an hour, like a clean fucking solid hour just to acquaint myself with reality again.
Really?
And the second I am in that, okay, I'm good. It's like shower, clean anything I need to clean, get to work, and I work nonstop from that point on until I have to break to eat, and I'll break for supper, and it takes me maybe like a half an hour after supper to fucking get those gears going again. Right. But then I will literally go until 2, 3, 4 o'clock at night, and not stop. Like everything that I'm just constantly doing shit.
Weird, man.
All that time.
I can't do that.
And then I have to tell myself when it gets to that anywhere from 2 to 4 o'clock, I literally have to force myself to go to bed. See, because I know that I don't want to sleep all fucking day.
Right.
But I know that I need to fucking, so I'll smoke a fucking fat bowl and then I go to bed and I conk right out and I literally wake up.
I wake up and by the time I'm done taking a morning piss, I'm good to go.
Oh, I can't do that.
Because I'll piss. I'll first of all, I'll get up. I'll go and start the fucking the kettle. Right. I'll go take a piss. I'll brush my teeth. By the time I'm back at the kettle, it's done boiling. And before I have that first sip of coffee, I'm good to go. I probably don't even need coffee anymore. It's just like that.
Wow.
That's-
That is a skill, man.
You know what it's from? And that just came out recently because I quit smoking cigarettes.
Hmm.
I had a cigarette on
What a crazy difference,
a
eh?
couple Saturdays ago. I had a cigarette at my buddy's place. We were watching the fights, and I just smoking his cigarettes. I was already on the vape, but I smoked his cigarettes. And I woke up the next morning like I was fucking hungover, man. By next morning, I mean 11 o'clock in the afternoon or 11 o'clock in the morning. I was like, this is fucking gross. Coughing up a lung. I was just like, could smell nothing because everything was clogged up. It was just gross.
Yeah.
This is going to be gone by Monday. This is gone by start. 75 start. You're gonna hate me. I'm calling you at 5 a.m.
Okay, I gotta go look this fucking list up and figure out what the fuck I got myself into because it's sounding
He's on
worse
board.
and worse.
He's on. Hey, he's on board.
Let's do it.
I'm just sitting there. I'm like, because I was doing 3 months sober or whatever too, and dialing in on my workouts and stuff like that. It's like, so when you mentioned that today, I'm like, okay, cool. I manifested that.
Mhm.
Like that's a natural thing.
It's an individual. You have to do it yourself thing, but it's good to have a teammate to call on and be like, hey man,
I'm gonna
help
print
me
this off.
motivate
I'm gonna
me.
print this off. I've seen like the checkboards before. I'm gonna go print this off poster board size ones.
Okay,
And
yeah.
stick it on the wall and the fucking big X through every day.
dope. I'll get mine on Sunday.
I'm about it.
That's it.
I have it written on my bathroom mirror. I have a big wide bathroom mirror. I have dry erase markers.
I gotta get some shit for my house, man.
Wrote a dry erase marker. I wrote it all down.
Did
Wrote
you
the
have
whole
a
checklist.
housewarming party and people supposed to bring you shit?
No,
when
he's
that
got all his
COVID,
friends.
bro.
happened? They brought you the wrong shit.
Yeah, literally.
Everything that they have brought me is now gone.
All right, I'm sweating. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I love you.
See you next week.